Ladies and gentlemen, today's motion is this House prefers the strategy of punishing of institutional reform to address police abuse and misconduct rather than defunding the police. First, I want to emphasize that I'm prefer to reform to address police abuse and misconduct in defunding the police. And I disagree that you said it impact good and bad police. In my opinion, impact may happen for police because defunding the police by influencing our police is affect the good police and the bad police, and it's inevitable because they work in the same institutions. But I believe that defunding the police will have a more significant impact. Why? Because if we reduce police funding, then the head of the police institution will lack the funds and police acceptance will be decreased, and therefore police acceptance will also be limited, and only those who deserve or respect differences will be accepted and will close the possibility of abuse, violence, and police misconduct. And then if one of them is doing racist things continuously, I think the one who is one of those institutions, then I believe it is more effective if we defund the police than just punishing the wrong police. If we only punish police who commit abuse, violence, or maybe misconduct, it does not rule out the possibility of other police doing the same thing. If we defund the police, I believe that it will affect our police, and the police will think more about doing that kind of stuff. And in my opinion, if we do defunding, it will affect the entire police, not just individuals. And in my opinion, there is something wrong with police acceptance itself, and I believe if there is still racism from the police, it means that police acceptance is completely fatal. I just defund because in my opinion, we have to improve starting from the police acceptance system and the training provided, because I think that it is better to improve the system from the start rather than improve the consequences. And then in my opinion, the second one is if we do defunding the police, it will influence the police to make sure all of them do not commit abuse, violence, or misconduct. And if we influence all the police, it will last a long time. Whereas if it's only an individual punishment, it will only affect one individual and it will take a place quickly. That's what I say. First, if we reduce police funding, then the head of the police institution will lack funds, and he or she must be very strict about the rule if he or she wants to acceptance as the police. So in this point, I mean, like, if we punish the police, it will affect the way the police work in a sustainable manner. And if we only punish the police who make mistakes, it will only affect the police themselves, but not the whole police. And therefore, I prefer to defund the police. Why? Because if we defund the police, chairman the police will be stricter in the regular selection and acceptance for new police, and it will reduce the incident of racism like this. And for example, is the new cases. Jacob Black that got shot 7 times in front of his babies, and it doesn't matter the circumstances. That's why I said if we only punish the police who commit abuse and something like that, it does not rule out the possibility of other police doing the same thing. And then, in my opinion, if we defunding the police, it can education and work infrastructure, and once consistent finding in the social science literature is that if we really want to reduce crime, education, equality, and the establishment of a work infrastructure is the best approach. I believe that throwing more police on the streets to solve a structural problem is one of the reasons why people are protesting in the streets. and defunding police or reallocating funding away from police department to others sectors of governments may be more beneficial for reducing crime and police violence. And the impact for bad and good police, it must be happen because they are work in the same institutions, and that's why I said first we must defunding the police because it will make sure all of them do not commit abuse, violence, or misconduct. And right now, I want to emphasize you guys that I'm disagree with these motions, and I want to restate that why I'm disagree with these motions, because in my opinion, if we do defunding, it will affect the entire police, not just individuals, and it will influence the police to make sure all of them do not commit abuse, violence, or misconduct, and then it can education and more and work infrastructure. Why I choose defund? Because I think we must improve the system first, rather than improve the consequences we got later or in the end. And that's why I said it's better to defunding the police rather than pushing for institutional reform to address police abuse and misconduct. Strategy of pushing for institutional reform to address police abuse and misconduct. So that's all for me. Thank you.